So a trip is never really going to go exactly how you planned it, but I felt like this trip went really well with exactly what I had planned. But there are a couple things that did not go according to plan, and I'd like to share those with you now. So the first day, the only thing that went wrong according to what I had planned was I just didn't use the day-by-day spreadsheet times with the fast passes, and I didn't use that for any day really. I kind of just winged it. But other than that, the first day went exactly according to plan. Day 2, my mom and grandma decided to sleep in that morning, and so it was just me and my cousins who went to Magic Kingdom for the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique experience. But they did end up coming later, so that was good. And we did not end up going to Disney Springs that night. We were all too exhausted. Epcot was day 3, again, pretty spot on. We didn't have too much extra time in Future World, so the only extra ride we got to ride was the Living with the Land, and only my grandma and my little cousin rode that along with myself. It was harder to plan around the smokers in our group than I had previously thought it would be. It took a lot longer to actually find the locations than I thought it would, and it just ate up a lot of our time. So we ended up splitting up more than I thought we would have, but pretty much everything else at Epcot went according to plan. We did not feel all that rushed in the World Showcase. We got exactly where we needed to go at the right times, so that went pretty good. Day 4 is when everything just went down the toilet. We were all burnt out, we were all tired and exhausted, and we didn't get to go to Ohana that morning. We all slept in, and we actually barely got it to our lunch reservation that day. And even though we did miss all of our Fast Pass reservations that morning, I was able to get us to go on Toy Story Mania, Tower of Terror, and Rock and Roller Coaster. We didn't end up seeing the Frozen sing-along. That was just kind of like a group decision. And I actually rode Star Tours on my own. The next day was Animal Kingdom Day, and we all slept in a little bit again. We actually ended up getting there around the time for our lunch reservation. That's where we went straight from entering the park at Tusker House. So after that, we had planned to go to Expedition Everest with our Fast Passes, and it actually ended up being temporarily closed when we got there. But there's no worries. They said that our Fast Passes would go over for the rest of the day, and they did for that, and that was pretty good. And we did actually end up riding Kali River Rapids and going on the Kilimanjaro safaris later that day as well. But because it was later in the day, we didn't end up seeing Lion King the musical, and we had to get up early the next day for our breakfast reservation at Crystal Palace. So we just decided to cut the day a little bit short, about 6 p.m. to get back to the resort so we could shower and get up the next day. And we actually did end up getting up the next day, finally, and making it to our breakfast reservation at Crystal Palace. And our breakfast reservation was an hour before the park opened, and if you have the chance to do that, I would highly suggest doing that, because if you eat just a little bit faster, you can get into the park just a few minutes earlier, and it's such an amazing experience to be in the park before it opens. So definitely try to do that if you can. After breakfast, my grandmother wasn't feeling that well, so she decided to go back to the resort, and we ended up just doing our Fast Passes as we had planned them, and that was okay. Other than that, it went exactly as planned. It was actually a really good day for the wait times. We actually ended up being able to go on Pirates of the Caribbean twice, so that was good. So overall, I think I did a pretty good job managing our time wisely on this trip. But there are a few things I would change, and actually that's going to be my next video, is my mistakes I made. So check that out next week, it'll be posted. So subscribe to see that, and do subscribe if you're interested in seeing more travel planning videos. Thanks for watching, bye! After breakfast